Why listening your own voice is important. Let's talk about something that many people overlook when learning English. Your own voice. Have you ever wondered what your voice sounds like to others? Or have you ever recorded yourself speaking and listened to it? If you haven't, you're missing out on one of the most effective ways to improve your English. Listening to your own voice might feel strange or even uncomfortable at first. That's normal. Many people aren't used to hearing themselves, but this practice can bring huge benefits. When you listen to yourself, you can hear how you really sound, your pronunciation, tone, and rhythm. You might notice small mistakes or areas where you can improve. Over time, this awareness helps you make your English clearer, smoother, and more natural. Recording and listening to yourself is like having a personal teacher. It's a simple habit, but it can make a big difference in how you speak English. Let me start by telling you a quick story about Amelia. Amelia was one of my students a few years ago. She was a kind and hard-working girl, but she had one big problem. She didn't like how her voice sounded when she spoke English. "Teacher," she said to me one day, "I sound so weird when I speak. I don't like listening to myself." I smiled and told her, "You're not the only one who feels that way. Everyone feels strange listening to their own voice at first. But trust me, the more you listen to yourself, the more you grow." Amelia didn't believe me, but she decided to give it a try. Here's what I told Amelia to do. I asked her to record herself reading a short paragraph from her favorite book. She chose a story she loved because it made her feel happy. After recording, I asked her to play it back and listen carefully. At first, she laughed nervously and said, "I can't do this. Is this really me?" But I encouraged her. "Yes, Amelia, this is you, and it's a great start. The more you listen, the clearer you'll see the areas you need to improve." One of the main reasons listening to your own voice is important is because it helps you recognize your mistakes. We all make little errors when we speak a new language. You might mispronounce a word, miss an ending sound like ed, or stress the wrong syllable. When you listen to a recording of your voice, you can catch these things. Amelia noticed that she was saying watched as watch without adding the ed sound. She told me, "I never realized that before." Listening to yourself also helps you understand how your words flow together. When we speak, we naturally connect words. For example, instead of saying, "I am going to," native speakers often say, "I'm gonna." By recording and listening, Amelia started noticing that her speech didn't flow smoothly. She sounded too careful, almost like a robot. "Now I know what to fix," she told me. "I need to practice speaking more naturally." Another important thing about listening to your own voice is building confidence. I know it sounds strange at first. Many people, like Amelia, don't like their voices because they aren't used to hearing themselves. But the more you listen, the more comfortable you'll feel with your voice. It's like forming a friendship with your own sound. When Amelia listened to her recordings after 1 month, she smiled and said, "I don't hate my voice anymore. It's starting to sound better." It's also about understanding your strengths. I told Amelia, "When we hear our voice, we often focus too much on the bad parts and forget the good parts." For instance, her pronunciation of certain words like beautiful and friendship was really good. When she listened to her recordings closely, she noticed this and felt proud of herself. I always remind my students, celebrate your good moments. You're doing better than you think. Recording your voice is not something you need fancy tools for. You can just use your phone or computer. Find a quiet space and read something you like. You can even practice your favorite movie lines or talk about your day. Amelia used to talk about what she ate for breakfast or what she planned for the weekend. It doesn't matter what you record as long as you speak in English. Here's a tip I often share. Record something today and listen to it again tomorrow. When you give yourself a day, your ears become fresher and you can hear your mistakes more clearly. Amelia found this very helpful. She said, "When I listen right after recording, everything sounds fine. But the next day, I notice many small mistakes." Listening to yourself also helps you work on your tone and emotion. English is a language full of feeling. The way you say something can change the meaning completely. For example, saying, "Oh, really?" with excitement sounds very different from saying it with suspicion. Amelia practiced this by recording the same sentence with different emotions. She realized just how much tone matters. I always tell my students, the more you listen, the easier it gets. At first, you might notice more problems than progress, but that means you're learning. Amelia listened to her voice every day for 10 minutes. After a few weeks, she felt confident enough to read aloud in front of the class. "I don't feel shy anymore," she told me. This was a huge milestone for her. Another surprising benefit of listening to your own voice is motivation. Over time, you can actually hear your progress. Amelia kept some of her old recordings and compared them to her newer ones. "I can't believe how much I've improved," she said one day, with a big smile on her face. "Now I use linking words, my pronunciation is better, and I sound more natural." Hearing her own improvement gave her the energy to keep going. If you feel stuck in your English learning, I encourage you to try this small exercise. Start simple. Speak for 1 minute about something you love, such as your favorite food, movie, or even your pet. Listen to what you say. You will learn so much about how you speak. Maybe you say or too many times. Maybe you forget to make your sentences complete. Noticing these things will help you improve. At the same time, don't be too hard on yourself. Progress takes time. When Amelia first started listening to her voice, she made a long list of all the things she didn't like. I told her, focus on 1 or 2 things at a time. Fixing everything at once is not possible. So, she chose pronunciation first. Once that improved, she moved on to rhythm and tone. Little by little, as I like to say. Some people ask me, what if I feel too embarrassed to listen to myself? That's a normal feeling, but remember, no one else has to hear your recording. It's just for you. And the more you do it, the more confident you will become. I like to remind my students, the more you practice, the more capable you become. Listening to your own voice encourages you to take control of your learning. Amelia once told me she felt like a teacher for herself. "Now, when I speak, I know what to listen for," she said. You become your own best guide. This sense of responsibility makes you improve faster. So, my friends, don't be afraid to try it. Start today. Speak, record, listen, and learn. You'll soon notice how much more aware you are of your English. The more you listen, the more confident you'll be when speaking with others. Imagine this. One day, you will hear yourself and think, "Wow, I sound really good." Keep going, step by step. You're doing amazing things.